What's up, Buffalo Bills fans? I know it's a few days removed from the game. I kind of wanted to come do a live right after the game, but I didn't feel like just the tenor of everything that went on. We all know what I'm talking about. It's almost like it was two separate games. It was pre-Tua injury, post-Tua injury, and post-Tua injury. I just feel like there was this like unspoken agreement between the two teams. It's like, look, we're just gonna throw our hands up. We'll concede the result and just get through this game and just lick our wounds and collectively just go our separate ways. I just feel like, just once that happened, there was just the game just kind of went into a slog, and just they were just like, let's just go through it. Um, but uh, getting back to the game as it started pre Tua's injury, um, another concussion, unfortunately for him. Um, the Bills were really making him look bad. I mean, they were just really clamping it down. They seemed to have a plan of letting Achan just get what he could in front of him, whether it was in screens, just this all the gimmick motions that they did. They were really attacking the edges of the Bills, and then doing stuff to just get them off their spots, and then kind of hit them in the middle a little bit. They were having some success, but once it came time to really making hay on a down and distance, got to have it situation, they were really able to, make Tua, force some balls into some bad spots. The one Benford hits off the shoulder pad of DeBose right into Ingram's hands on their first drive. Bills laid the gauntlet down very, very quickly in this game. They get the turnover. They get down there. It's fourth and a few, and they're going for it. They're going for it. And they call the timeout, dial up the play they want. It's kind of a variation of what they did last year in Brady's first game coordinated against the Jets. It was the same on the first touchdown that they scored in the game because they kicked 2 field goals. It was, Cook leaking out and just being able to get the angle and just basically go right into the end zone for a touchdown unobstructed. Next drive, Dolphins answer. They come down. They work their game how they do it. Lots of motions, lots of eye candy, and they're able to score a touchdown. And it was basically on forget who fell on that play. I think it was Jamarcus Ingram who slipped and fell on the play. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was Cam Lewis or him, but they were supposed to fill a void out there. They didn't leak out there, and it ended up being a touchdown. It might have been, to be honest with you, looking back, one of the backers that had just come in the game for Terrell Bernard, who was unfortunately injured in this game. Just another week, another big injury for the Bills, but thankfully it doesn't seem like it's long term right now. In the sense like 6 to 8 plus week variety. I think it's the 3 to 4 week variety. When you hear Peck, you think about last year with Daquan Jones, and oh man, it's basically a whole season right here. For a team that's already down Taron Johnson, Matt Milano, and now Terrell Bernard, but Spector, Dorian Williams, just the new faces. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Just fresh faces, just new energy, young players who just don't have all those psychological scars of the Chiefs and this and that. I'm not saying that they're going to be better. I'm not saying that the Bills aren't going to hemorrhage a little bit because of these injuries. I'm just saying sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and you can go out there and play looser, play freer, and you're unburdened by and unbothered by the things of the past. Like us fans, we just carry around it all with us, whether it's the Super Bowl era, the Music City Miracle, and the drought, and all these players. They don't think about that stuff mostly, but these young players that weren't there for it, they don't care. And they went out there and they played excellent. They played excellent, and I just want to get back to what I was saying earlier. The Bills laid down the gauntlet very early in this game with going for it on that fourth down. And the two situations that I've seen where Miami, where they supposedly have a coaching advantage, at least on the offensive side, I saw that, where McDaniels, the way he played that end-to-half sequence where he was just scared out of his mind, to have Tua make a mistake. You know, they were down 24-7. They're driving, and the way 3 timeouts in the bag and just the handling of the clock, the timeouts, he was coaching and calling plays afraid of a mistake being made and it just being a completely demoralized situation, which it already, was. Because once the Bills got the INT, right there, it's 31-10. And essentially the Bills just really didn't have to do much. They had a field goal attempt, I believe, get blocked. And yeah, again, tale of two games, because once the injury happened, it just seemed like there was an unspoken agreement that they were just going to agree to go their separate ways and then just get the game over with as fast as possible and hope no other injuries occurred. But I really got to tip my hat to Sean McDermott on the short week, the coaching staff, with the offense, and it's good to have these type of games early in the year as opposed to late in the year. Remember, just the bodies were hanging. The Bills were just in gotta-have-it games constantly at the end of last year. And you had the Thursday in L.A. against the Chargers where they were really up for it after having given up the points they gave up against the Raiders and just the firing of the coach. So they were just really galvanized by that and played the Bills there. And they were coming off a mini bye also. And now, the Bills are going off a mini bye even more because they got a Monday game against the Jags who are up against it. I'll touch on that game a little bit, because they're going to be desperate. They're going to be trying to get a win. We know the history between these two teams, that they've got the Bills' number. It's 9-6 game, the game last year in London, which, Matt Milano, Daquan Jones go down. So you got to hope the Bills run into some injury luck here. But the theme of week one around the NFL was just some teams, a good portion not being ready to go, just getting out there and just getting run over, having their pants pulled down. This week two, it's injuries. Wow, there was just a glut of injuries around the league and some big names being lost for the year. So all things being equal, this is why I always say with injuries, nobody's going to write the Bills and say, hey, our condolences, here's some flowers. No, it's everybody's dealing with their own issues. So all things being equal, I don't think the Bills have it that bad. Especially with this little mini bye, they really get to rest up the bodies and just get ready to go for next Monday night. But as it pertains to this last game, just an efficient game by Allen on offense, nothing spectacular, but he's got those, 2 to 3 wow plays that on any given Sunday will set him apart from the other quarterback on the other side of the ball. A lot of people point out to that Ty Johnson when he was rolling out to the right, that throw and catch there. For me, it was the Shakir right down the middle and the one where he gets the flag on Jordan Poyer for defenseless receiver shot, adds 15 more on top of that. That was a wow throw. That was a big-time throw. And also underlying positive in this game, Allen didn't get hit once, wasn't sacked, really didn't have to, played pretty much pressure-free the whole game. Keep anything from happening to that hand. And then this little bit of time off is definitely, I'm sure, helped that. So that was just a blessing in disguise. Not so much in disguise with him at all optimal as we'd all hope. But yeah, there was just so many underlying stories in this game. The pass rush, Oliver getting off the snide in week two, but him getting a sack, and Von Miller is definitely back. I mean, the age, people have trepidation. Is he going to recapture what he once had? Does he still have it in his locker? Well, he still has it in his locker. I mean, people are putting out the time get off that he was posting. It was something under around 2 seconds. There was a freeze frame where he was already into his first step as the ball was being hiked, and you see no other Bills defender moving, but he was already on his way. I know he hit Austin Jackson with a vicious spin move. That thing was nasty, and he just missed the sack. Then he ended up getting the sack on Skylar Thompson, which, ended the drive down there and pretty much the game for the Dolphins. They were pretty deflated and demoralized once Tua went down, and I can understand that. That was a tough watch, and you just hope the kid makes the right decision for himself, whether it's to play or whatever. But everything that's been put out there so far is he intends to play. But yeah, that's why the game it took a different tenor, even though the Bills won it was like, how do you speak about this game? But, give it a little time. Um, Going around the league yesterday, a lot of former Bills had some rough days. Trey White out in L.A. had a rough one against a guy the Bills shut down in week one. Took a lot of heat for not, catching many balls, only 1 for 4 yards, and there was a lot of stuff about him being open deep late. But if you look back, Kyler was in a bad spot, really couldn't see him. Then once he came back to the ball, he was well covered up. He was kind of turned loose by the corners. Felt like he had a safety there. Kyler was on the far side, couldn't see him or couldn't get the ball to him. Those stills are kind of deceiving sometimes. But Christian Benford, let's sing some of his praises, because here's a guy that, given even Elam's reclaimed confidence, his new relationship with a new DB coach, had a great summer, had always shown well when he got on the field. Christian Benford's the real deal. He's good. He is really that good. I mean, this past week against Waddle and Hill, not much. Waddle had the one catch for 17, but that was really it. Week one, those receivers didn't do much, if anything, and you saw what Arizona did to an LA Rams team who can scheme it up. I mean, they have such big injuries on offense, though it's kind of hard to gauge where that game it isn't. But hey, it's part of this game. It's a shame, and the way the league wants to go with potential 18 games. I mean, what type of team are you going to be fielding, or what type of teams are going to be fielded at the end of the season when you have this type of just carnage this early in the year? But Christian Benford definitely really, he's just, what a revelation he's been, and he's just getting better. He's just a guy that's just getting better. He hasn't peaked. He's starting to intercept the ball free and easy. He doesn't fight it. Looks like a natural hands catcher. And for a 6th-round guy, I mean, he's a guy that I'm looking to, that he might be that next extension guy, similar to what Spencer Brown. I think he's that next guy in line for that type of extension. But back to the injury, I'm excited to see, provided he can stay healthy. I'm excited to see Spector get some run. Olafosio, Dorian Williams. I'm excited to see those guys, maybe Andreessen, get on the field and play. I feel like they have some better cover at linebacker than they had last year, because they had to scramble at the 11th hour the year before, add AJ Klein. Kind of had to bring him back again last year late because of some injuries, but all things being equal, I feel like they're in a better spot this year. And Jamarcus Ingram, Cam Lewis, you look at the interior of this defense from safety to linebacker, it's completely new. No more Poyer and Hyde. One semi-retired, the other on Miami. He had a rough game, unfortunately. We love Poe. But Milano, Terrell Edmonds, another year removed. Terrell Bernard, Spector, like all the names I mentioned, Hamlin, Rapp, are the safeties that we thought would be starters are backups with Cole Bishop and Mike Edwards. Those guys still have to, they got some run at the end of the game in a blowout, but those guys need to start getting lathered up and getting burned in this defense, because those are the guys that I feel like are going to be on the field late in the year for the Bills, and Rapp will be in more of that hybrid dime roll. But guys like Jamarcus Ingram, who was Johnny on the spot for 2 interceptions, he's a guy that, like Cam Lewis, we felt like, this guy's been loitering around here, the UB guys, the process guys, kind of almost ceremonial trophies. No, they're making plays. They're making plays, and they belong on that field. This is not, some just, a local tryout award. No, they belong on that field, and they've proved it, that they belonged on that 53 and on the game day roster. So hats off to them. Hats off to the Bills for developing them. Hats off to them for sticking with it and putting in the time and showing on the field. So, all right, Bills fans, I'm going to let you go with that. Hope you enjoyed it. Jags this week, Monday Night Football. This following Monday, it's Monday now, so Bills have a little bit longer of a week than usual. Then they obviously have a short week playing a Monday night. But again, it's good to get these out of the way early in the year as opposed to late in the year. That's a team that's 0-2 coming into town. Like I said, with the aforementioned history, hopefully the Bills will have some guys back. Maybe Taron Johnson, maybe not. Maybe they hold him out another week, given Cam Lewis's play has been definitely up to snuff so far. Maybe you get Dwan Smoot back, former Jag, who'd be anxious to play against his old team, gives the Bills a little bit more variety, versatility on the defensive line. A place that they've had plenty of depth. Maybe a Javon Solomon will be available. I don't really see him getting activated. Yeah, the Bills didn't really have to go in their bag too much on offense, but it's nice to, you'd like to think that they can do a little bit more against a Jags team that's has some transition, more so in the secondary than in the front seven. They've had a few injuries and new coordinator, not the same coordinator as they've had in prior years. As Mike Caldwell, I believe, was their defensive coordinator last year, made a change. So we'll see. Peterson looked pretty embattled in that in press conference. Lawrence looked frustrated. We've got Gabe Davis now. Mitch Morris, he had a little bit of a rough game. Got beat on a sack that eventually cost them a safety late in the game on Lawrence. So we'll see. Every week's a new week. They'll come out, fresh, motivated against a team that they've had success against. The Bills. They've had success. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Bills fans, love you all. Take care. Have a great week, and always go Bills.